Okay, so dear Dharma practitioners, be comfortable yourself and relax your body. Keep your back straight, neck head straight in one line and your right palm on your left. So gently close your eyes and bring your attention to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound, mentally relax your body, relax your mind and relax your breathing with your thoughts. So do nothing extra. Just follow the sound, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Exalted One, the fully enlightened One. So, dear Dhamma practitioners, in these ongoing meditation sessions, we mainly try to share some basic informations for yourself to build up a very good, very clear, strong spiritual foundation with your meditation practice. So when it comes to meditation practice, as all of you experience, today there are many techniques, many methods, but still, when it comes to our personal understanding, we have very little bit of information about the practice. And sometimes there are a lot of people practice meditation and they don't know what it is and they don't know what are the results they can gain. They just think, oh, I close my eyes and just I become more comfortable with myself. But when it comes to this meditation practice, and especially according to the Buddha's teaching, there is a purpose, and to gain that purpose, there is a method, and that to practice that method, step by step, you have to develop it. So when it comes to this meditation technique, the very purpose of this meditation technique, cultivation of the mind, development of the mind. So to develop with in the beginning with the wholesome action and develop with the awareness. And out of that, what you gain the clarity. So the clarity regarding your own experience with your own perception, perceive through your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. And end of this all, the final goal is the liberation. To get into that liberation or the Nibbana, there are few things we have to get rid from our mind. So to get into that level, one of the major important things to be very clear with ourselves is called the self-view. So when it comes to this self-view, there are two ways. So the one self-view, it's a very common way most of people understand, or most of people try to explain the self-view, that your point of view regarding that your experience. That is one self-view. And there is another self-view. That self-view means the view that you're carrying regarding you, that about I am, me, self. So what you mean by self is another self-view. So because that also conditioned by you. You have your own concept, ideas, thoughts, believing system about you. So this both way you have to understand. Because that understanding, so when you purify the mind, when you develop the mind, it allows you to become very clear with this idea of the self. Of course, so when it comes to the self, of course, that we believe this is me, this is I am. But that believing come out of it's a very conventional level of understanding. Eternally, there is no such a self or the me or I am as somebody exists in me permanently. In conventional level, what I mean by self is always change. So getting to this level, in the very first level, we have to understand what is this world. So when it comes to the world, in Dharma, there's teaching, it's called 5 aggregates: form, feeling, perception, volition, and recognition. So when it comes to these 5 aggregates, this is the entire world. The form is physical. That yourself and all this entire universe, that whatever you experience, it belongs to the form. That is physical or the material. And other all 4 things or mental is that feeling, perception, volition, recognition. Those 4 you experience mentally. When it comes to this experience, there are few ways we recognize this, all the 5 aggregates. One way is, this is me. This is me. So I sometimes I hold these 5 aggregates somehow out of 5, 1 or 2 or 3 or 5. I hold in certain way. One way is I hold is believing this is me. And another way is this is I am. And another way, this is myself. These 3 ways we hold somehow something out of these 5 aggregates, out of form, feeling, perception, volition, recognition. So then in whatever you experience, to release this idea of self, and little by little what you need to do, you have to do experiment or the exercise, or you have to practice in a certain way. So one way is observing, recognizing and understanding this is not mine. because we always hold, this is my, so kind of like that. And you have to look into very carefully. So whatever you hold as yours, inside or outside, somehow out of this 5 aggregates, form, feeling, perception, volition, or the recognition, inside world or the outside world. If anything you hold as yours, look into that slowly, deeply, carefully, clearly. Look into that. You don't need to believe anything. You don't need to follow anything. You don't need to be biased to any kind of thing. Just look very carefully. Then you will see. Is it yours? So one thing is to observe in a certain way to know this is not mine. So if you recognize it is not yours, then right away get out of it. So that is one thing. So when it comes to this world, out of the 5 aggregates, the first one, form, we develop kind of like ownership. That when it comes to the ownership, we all like to have, oh, this is mine, this is mine. But that ownership is sometimes some kind of, it's a kind of formulated with the ideas of kind of like legally, culturally, socially function. Other than that, fundamentally, there is no such a ownership that you can carry regarding anything in this world. Look into your own life. How many things that you own in your past. But when you come to this level today in your life, if you look very carefully, you will see that whatever the ownership that you had, it's all gone. So then today, whatever the ownership that you carry, it's also going to go by time. So then maybe temporary, it's kind of like conventionally we own things. But that whatever we own, we can't keep it to us because that all change. And that everything day by day break down. And that whatever we own is sometimes not even complete. And anything whatever we own itself cannot exist. So then how we can have something and thinking, oh, I own this, this is mine. Because it needs something. As example, this iPhone or the computer, I can say this is mine. So then if you look very carefully, so without power, you can't use that. So if the cell phone is yours, you have the ownership for that, conventionally, of course. But if you go into a little bit deeper, if it is yours, why you can't use it without power? Another thing is, and it needs some kind of softwares. That softwares not give legal rights completely to yourself. So whoever that the right that programs or the softwares, and there are companies legally, they have the rights regarding that all the softwares. So then what you own. For the moment, you can use it and you have it. But if you look very carefully, that ownership that you carry is really kind of like a fiction or fantasy. Conventionally, of course, but deeply, when it comes to the very reality, it's not such a thing that we can own. So the physically, you have to understand, there's nothing that in the outside we can own like that. Even when it comes to people's husband, wife, children's, partners, sometimes they believe they own really another person. And the people go crazy, and then the people sometimes get into very difficult times. Sometimes people kill each other. And the believing that they own the other person, but it's not such a thing like that. It is kind of like, we build up a fantasy in our mind. We can't own anybody like that. So in the very first level, physically try to understand it. Deeply, slowly, clearly, step by step, start to look. It will open your mind. So first one, this is not mine. Because invisibly underneath, unknowingly, we build up life and tangling with things. This is mine, this is mine, this is mine. That wrong understanding take us to wrong view regarding the world. So that is the first aggregates, releasing from that form. And when it comes to the feeling, perception, volition, and recognition, and sometimes people stand for their feelings, stand for their ideas, thoughts, believing. And this is mine. This is my thought. This is my idea. But if you look very carefully, this body depends on the food and the air and the environment. This body not depend because of you believe this is you. It need some kind of help from this outside. Especially we need the water, food, environment, medicine sometimes. So that everything, if you look very carefully, then how you can claim even this body as yours? So don't follow following any teachings. If you start to look, you're not going to see that maybe. You have to be free completely and look. What is yours? And then the next one is another way we hold. So because this idea of self, very smart, it try to go in different ways. If you can't, if you can't hold from this way, it go from another way. That another way is kind of like, so even you release, this is not mine. And sometimes we hold it to this is I am. With our feelings, perception, volition, recognition, this is I am. So then deeply you have to come to a point to observe and recognize, to know I am not this. That is another way to release. I am not this. That when it comes to the body, feelings, perception, volition, and recognition. Not to bring thinking this is I am. So you reverse that and observe and recognize I am not this. So as example, just imagine whatever you recognize maybe, by the time it's going to change. And maybe you say something, you believe something, and later you change it. And you believe, you can see it, you can understand it, and you know it is, and you stand for that. And then, but by the time you understand you are wrong. So that's why even that you experience or understand something, it look like real. Maybe by the time you understand, it is not like that. So because of that, in a deeply, you have to withdraw from that, and you have to be very careful not to claim it as you. And then you withdraw from that and you say, this is, I am not this. And release it. And once you release that, it's going to come from another way. And then sometimes this is myself. That's because when it comes to the, if you can't very clearly see the consciousness, how it happens, and sometimes you believe this is me, this is myself. And then you hold it to that. And you hold it to that, then what happened? It's go like a virus. You're going to hold it to other things also. If you don't have very clear mind, you know, you hold it to physical things, material things, you hold it to other people also as you. It can grow. It can become bigger, bigger, bigger. It's kind of like a giant invisible ghost. Whatever around you, you start to take as you, myself. So that's why you have to slowly withdraw from and to say, this is not myself. Because if you see how it happened because of another reason. And that will help you. All this form, feeling, perception, volition, recognition happen because of another reason. It itself can't stand. It itself can't exist. There is no any sustainable method within your all five aggregates to be there. It always arises as a result of something. If you see that, you're never going to claim this as this is myself, especially when it comes to the consciousness, feelings, recognition. And if you hold it that way, then sometimes you hold other people also as yourself. It's kind of like a half of you, like what it called soulmate. You know, it's kind of like, you see, that it's a kind of like a half of you. You take it as, oh, mine. This is me, this is myself. Oh, you also, myself. It's a part of myself. And then it's not only that, then little by little you start to hold all the world also around you also as yourself. You representing this everything by the time. So that is how this giant invisible ghost can grow. So it eat the ideas. That's it. It eat the ideas. grow invisibly in your mind. So don't allow it to happen. If it is grow like that way, what happened? It's kind of like a treadmill. You have the desires, you keep running, keep doing things, and you kind of like keep going, walking, running. It's kind of like there is a journey, but you are at the same place. See, that is what happened with the 5 aggregates: form, feeling, perception, volition, recognition. Even though you go through this whole experience, there's something similar in you. It's getting tangled, stagnate, calcify. It's kind of like a storage. Little by little, get stuck there. It happened because of the repetition of the same thing. Another way we call the habit. So why that habit happen again and again? Because it representing this wrong view, wrong idea of the I am. That's why you keep repeating. So those are the 3 methods that you can look into. 5 aggregates: form, feeling, perception, volition, recognition. This is not mine. So that is one of the best way. Get out of the ownership. It's nothing wrong experiencing. You can experience things without ownership. How many times you do that? Look, you go to a hotel, you experience, you're not going to own, but sometimes, even for that 12 hours or the 21 for one day, maybe, you give a hard time to all the people work in that place, maybe believing that room is yours for even for that time period. But you have to check out by the time. So somehow always remember, this everybody around us one day going to go check out. They will check out by the time, you have to check out. So then, don't keep the ownership. You can have a relationship, you can have the friendship, you can have the connection, you can do your best, but still your mind become free from the ownership. Even this, all the material things. Be free. And so when it comes to meditation, when you practice with each and every inhalation, exhalation, don't hold the ownership. Be free from the ownership and just observe how this natural process happens itself. It's just a beginning point. Don't make it kind of like too complicated. Don't bring too many kind of like arguments. Kind of like don't bring too many logical ideas. Oh, if it is so, if it is, because that all logical ideas come out of your own mind. That's the thing. That's another condition of mind. If you understand that, then you become kind of like, careful about it. Because that is the very nature of the mind. The logic come out of the mind. But in a very conventional level, we need that. But we need it, but don't keep a ownership for that logical ideas also. What you believe, or we say, this is what I believe, this is what I think. Don't have the ownership for that. Nothing wrong that you believe that for the moment, because maybe there are some reasons in this conventional life as ordinary people. But can you believe something without having ownership to that what you experience? So like that, start it with the material things. It's not hard. You can jump into this little by little, little by little. And you can go deeper little by little. So this all the marine soldiers, whoever can't swim, by the time if they can't swim, they can't go to the ocean. But by the time they become deep divers. But how they start if they can't swim? 6 feet full. From 6 feet full, and then they go to the 8 feet deep pool. And then from the 8 feet to 12 feet. And from there to 16 feet. So like that, little by little, they become advanced, and then but they go to the ocean, they go deep dive, become deep divers. So it's possible, but you have to train. So like that idea of this, tangling these ideas happen with the reason, and you can distangle it, untangle it, little by little, slowly. Don't be hurried. But the main reason, the important thing is, don't caught up into your own logic. And don't claim it as you. And so get out of the ownership. And don't try to bring your identity out of form, feeling, perception, volition, or the recognition, knowingly that all happened because of something. So how you can know that? Observe it little by little. That's why out of practice, we see that. And then that will help. So start with the breathing. Then you will see this entire life, moment by moment, each and every organ depend from the breathing. Any organ doesn't have independent, self-centered, sustainable method to exist itself. Each and every cell need the oxygen, need the water, need the blood, need the vitamins. So see, if you see that, that's enough for you. No need big dharma. This is this very simple thing. So that simple thing is, sometimes we can't understand. We are the one who complicated that method, and now we have to bring many methods or the sutras or kind of like that. But what you need, simple, very clear, calm, relaxed, comfortable mind without having any bias, without having any preconditioned thought. Simply observe. Then you will see what is there. So get into that. That's why in the very first level, we have to develop very tranquility mind. So that is the very nature of the tranquility mind. But from that point, we have to go to the vipassana level. So here, critical analytical method mean you don't develop a kind of like a conventional level of logical mind. Because that conventional level of logical mind come out of the comparison. So it doesn't have a depth. It doesn't have a kind of like the strong way to exist. For the moment, it is okay, when we go to school, universities, to develop this conventional life, we need that conventional level of logical, analytical mind. But here, we come to observe a little bit more deeply. In the spiritual practice, we don't bring that package here. We keep that package there, and we go deeper into observe our own moment of experience. So that is where you get out of all the relationship, even within your own body and mind, within your own experience, within your own environment, within your own relation. Don't have a ownership. Keep it. Don't have a ownership. Remember that. It's going to become a beautiful life lesson for you, for anything, at any time, for anybody. You have it. You don't keep ownership. and deeply pour yourself, then you always reflect on whatever you experience with the other four things: feeling, perception, volition, and recognition. I am not this. And the third one, this is not myself. So if you go deeper little by little, little by little, you will see how you release from the idea of self. It brings the more clarity, and it will take you more deeper, more deeper, more deeper. And that is where you get out of this kind of like a fiction, fantasy, created story. And then you will see beyond this all, there is existence. That existence has a nature, always change, impermanence, and unsatisfactory nature, and the selflessness. So with that, let's get into practice a little bit now. So your right palm on your left and neck, head straight in one line, and be comfortable with your posture. So bring your attention to your body and scan head to toes yourself. And say, Suapatveva, or may I be well and happy, 3 times. Take a moment and think. We take this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment, with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable. May my breath be more smooth. May no difficulties come to me. May all the success come to me. Also think for a moment, this is the last moment we are spending in this very lifetime, and detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalation and exhalation, and observe its natural process. Do nothing extra. So in the beginning, deeply and gently, breathe in, breathe out 3 times and find the sensation, please. And allow it to happen itself. And separately recognize inhalation as inhalation, exhalation as exhalation. So little by little, observe deeply and see the change happens moment by moment. Bring my attention to your body, please. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through entire your compound, village, city, state, country, world, around this universe. Also, as far as you can, through galaxies, other planets, stars. Reminding yourself like this. With clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe. And may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. Expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light. Your backside, your left side, and your right side. Downward, and upward. To all 6 directions at once, like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy, without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance, or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it, with the maximum effort to the highest, wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe Be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So first of all, we offer this practice to the great qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, and the Sangha. And also by the power of this meritorious deed, may all of us attain to the supreme bliss of Nibbana. May all your guardian angels and deities will receive these merits and increase their longevity and protect all of you from any kind of planetary influences or any ill effects. Ittavata amnihi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe bhuta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya sabbe satta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya Imaya dhamma nu dhamma patipattiya buddham pujemi dhammam pujemi sangham pujemi Addaya imaya patipattiya jati jara vyadhi maranam ha paribunjissami Idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamunchatu. Bless you.